What's going on, guys? SeeJay here with another video, and today I wanted to kind of follow up with the one I made yesterday when I went over the 2023 sort of how did everything pan out in the game, and now I want to go over my wish list for 2024 and what I'd like to see added into Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth. So let's dive right into it. All right, guys, so I have like a top 5. I don't want to go too deep, but I don't want to make this video too long. Lately, my videos have been like 15 minutes, and I'm really trying to keep them closer to like 8 to 10 minutes because that's my preference of a video timeline. And I'm sorry that I ramble on a lot when I'm talking. I'm just excited about the game and kind of want to give my, my perspectives to like a little bit of everything. But to dive right into it, if I wanted to go over like the top 5 things in no particular order of what I'd like to see added into Heroes of Middle-earth going into 2024, let's start with multi-squad PvP. We know that's coming. We just don't really know exactly how it's going to look. So currently my team, I'm sitting with, you're more or less free to play friendly squad here. You could sub out Strider and probably, plug and play the Rohan 3, which very well could do so. I like Strider. I like the AoE. I like the burn. I like the extra DPS. But generally, I'm sitting around like, silver 1, mid 3, 4, 500. Not that any of this is relevant to, my wish list here, but multi-squad PvP will be really fun. And I think it's actually a mode that will be beneficial to my account just because of the way that I sort of built my account out. So a lot of people who probably played this game and played maybe some other versions like Marvel Strike Force or Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes knows that it's very important to build your teams very tall and then go wide over time. Whereas I've already sort of showed my account. Maybe I'll do like an account sort of like, video maybe in a couple of weeks and say, here's like where I am in January, 4 months later, and sort of deep dive like what I've been working on and where we've kind of gone over a course of like a month since my first video I made on this channel for Heroes of Middle-earth. But if I'm looking at my account, you can see besides the ones I starred because of the ones I'm working on, we've got a lot of 6-star guys on this roster. A lot are already 6-star ready for 7. We got Eowyn slowly getting there. Eothane's very close. Strider's very close. Éomer is literally one more arena hit away. And I'm pretty sure we have Mary. Yeah, Mary's already 7. So my goal right now on the account is literally get Elwer here to 7, which we're halfway there, working on him now. Probably swap gears and then start working on Pippin to 7, because with Strider, Pippin, and Sam all 7, or I'm sorry, not Sam, Mary, then all I need to do is finish off Frodo, which is why I got Frodo kind of being worked on, because he's, he's like 1/3 there. So within like the next month or so, I'll probably be able to get him to 7 and then get free Sam, right? So then I'll have the full Road to Rivendell team. But my point to this is multi-squad PvP is going to allow for multiple teams to be in a setting of playing, and it's going to create the diversity that I think will be exciting versus you just kind of play like the same Rivendell squad, right? Like that's the meta at the top. I don't see it every game because I'm not at the top only in Silver 1, but like that is a meta comp that you're going to see a lot. Or you're going to see like just, the full Road to Rivendell team, or you're going to see like my team, which is like the Rohan 3 with usually like Ugluk or, Gaz Ironhide or whatever, right? Like you just see like there's not a lot of fun to it. You just go in, you battle it, you do it a couple times a day. I generally just do it 2 times, maybe 3. I never really like go out of my way to go too much further into the battles, but it would be exciting to see that added. And because I have a bit of a wider roster, I think I have some teams that I could kind of like maybe advance my account a little bit more, because I have 3 or 4 teams that are like 5, 6, 7-star, characters. So that'll be fun for me. And I think it'll just add like another flavor to the game. The other thing that I'd like to see, and that one is like something we already know that's coming, so it's not so much of a wish list item, but more like we know it's coming. I'm just excited because it's here to be in the game, hopefully sooner than later. Let's talk about a couple like quality of life features. So one thing for me, they added glyphs, and we knew that when they added glyphs, they weren't going to make it perfect on day 1. But for glyphs, for me, they really need to add some more additional filtering processes, because like I don't want to go to Armor Piercer, click this guy, and then say, okay, great, like Eladin, I want to have X, Y, or Z stats on him, right? Like the secondary stats over here. I want to be able to filter and like, do I have that at all on my account? And if I do, great. That's like a 3 perk roll out of 4 or 4 out of 4 perfect god roll. I know I want to invest my resources into that specific glyph for that specific, version. So like, in this example, whatever, Armor Piercer, right? Because we know that, I'd like to just be able to go in and do those things and not, okay, all right, we're using this one. Let me now look at, okay, this is, I get a little more health, but I lose, you know, like I don't, this is a pain in the ass, and I don't want to have to do this. And I'm not complaining. I'm super happy that they added glyphs. It's a fun feature to the game, but there's a lot of additional layers they can add to make this even better. Same thing with swapping. Like, how cool would it be if you could have like 2 or 3 sets for a character, even 2, like just give me 1 more. So that way when I'm like doing PvP or campaign, maybe my build is slightly different than a raid, or even the raids, like chapter 1 versus chapter 2, because a single target versus waves, you might have different like theory crafting ideas that you want to use. And if you have the glyphs in your bag and they're not used on anybody else, let me use them to have a second build for a single character. Like, that'll just be awesome and save so much time to click a button and say, put this set on instead, right? Like, there's a lot of things they can do here, and I know they probably will add these features, but obviously on release, we just don't have those quite yet. So those would be great. The other thing, kind of speaking specifically to raids, is they need to add like a raid log feature. So I like to track our team and kind of dive into it a little bit, right? And so unfortunately right now, if you're trying to like do any type of like exporting of this data, you have really like one of 2 options. You can either manually enter this in 1 by 1, which is unfortunately what I do, because I don't think the other way is really that much faster, because the other way is to do essentially screenshots. So take a screenshot of this, scroll down, take a screenshot of the next, 7, and just do that all the way to the bottom. And then when you get to the bottom, then you have your 25 screenshots or whatever, and then you can make them like turn into like text form, right? And then you can take that text form and then load it into an Excel file, and then have all your data for all your, all your guild members. Nice, but it's not really any faster if you're good at Excel and just kind of like cranking the numbers on the side, which my life is all around Excel in my normal day-to-day life. So I can kind of crank it pretty quick. But it's like, we know raids is the biggest part of this game, and they can certainly add a layer of the feature, right? Like, can you just give me an option in here that just says like export, right? Like, I don't know how easy that is, because we're talking mobile game, but it would be an absolute banger if you could add a way for me to be able to track this data better than manually key entering it. So maybe it's more of like a hardcore thing, and not everyone's really caring about their their individual scores or their guild scores, but I would love a feature like that to be added for like equality. Another thing that I'd like to see them add is another adventure character. Like, I think this whole Sam thing is pretty cool. When I first started playing the game, and I was like, man, I get like a free Sam once I get a couple of my Road to Rivendell characters up. That's kind of exciting, right? Like, if they had another character in here that you could just free farm over time. It doesn't have to be the same process like apples or whatever. It doesn't have to be a whole squad to get that, one character every time you star them up. They could do it however they want, but just another thing to do in the game, because like once you finish the Sam one, it's done. And then I'm in the moment where I'm not done with him, but since I have to get to 7 stars to continue the process, there's like, I'm in the waiting game. Like, this is just like dead content. I can't do anything here because I don't have the rest of the squad to participate. So these apples have been 6 of 6 for like 3 weeks, and I got another month at least before Frodo will be eligible to even get in here. So when I first started playing, I thought it was like a cool little like storyline and kind of exciting, and then now it's like that's the only one we have, right? The other one is like another new mode in general, like maybe some kind of like tower defense mode or something. So something where you kind of like climb up the ladders, and like every 5 to 10 difficulty ranks, you get something, I don't really know how I would particularly design that, but thinking of like other games I played in the past that are similar, like character progression games, maybe not so much of like a resource management game, but like power generating mobile games, like Raid Shadow Legends has something similar. Dragon Hair, I tried when that came out a few months ago, have like a lot of different like bosses that you can fight that give you gear, which sort of we already have that in the game. It's just designed differently, but they have like the tower defense modes where you climb the ladder, and as you progress you get better rewards. Like, that would be cool. More like an individual solo player mode, instead of only having that highest threshold of difficulty in the game in the raids. Like, that would just be super cool. Something else to do and get you to log into the game. So I think something like that would be great. Another thing that I really love to see them add to the game is some kind of like 2x event, 3x event. Like, I don't know how far up the X events they could possibly go, but it could be across anything. Like, why can't there be like a 2x event that says, oh, this week all Road to Rivendell characters get like 2x their character shards if you're farming them. So it gives you the reason to like farm specific characters on specific days or specific weeks, or pieces of gear or whatever, like anything in the campaign that really pushes you to go back there and continue grinding it. And then speaking of campaign, we need more chapters, because more chapters means better available ability materials in the guild chapters, or in the campaign, just more gold, more resources, whatever, right? But things like that, like they can continue adding more chapters to the game to add more story. But then even in like the existing chapters, like maybe like another tier of difficulty, like we have normal and hard, but like what about a third tier? So there's like a lot of things you could add to the game that already exist. But we'll see like what they decide to do, right? And then the last thing that I have, and probably no surprise, which we certainly hope we see that at some point early next year, is a new raid. So they could go in a lot of different directions. I've heard a couple different content creators with some ideas, and one that I really like that I think would be awesome is Smaug. If anyone's really seen like, the Lord of the Rings movies and stuff, like when he just comes out of like the treasure area and then just flies over the city and just starts like burning everything down, and like how cool of a boss fight would that be, like to fight the big dragon at the end of the raid. Now this could be like a one boss mega raid thing where it's like a clan boss type of fight, like a guild boss, or it could be like another 4 chapter like build up to get to him as like the final boss. But I think fighting Smaug would be like such a cool, like just awesome fight, right? Like it's just, everybody knows that boss if you're a Lord of the Rings fan. So I would love to see him added to the game in some form of fashion, whether it's a raid or some kind of like one-off boss fight that offers maybe some new currency or thing to the game that just pushes your character the one more level up into power, like whatever they decide to do, because they're just going to keep infinitely scaling in this game with additional power creep as characters come out and as the game kind of the longevity goes. But those are a few things that I thought about and said, if like 2024, if they came out and were to talk about anything that they were going to add to the game, these are some of the things that came to my mind. Let me know what you guys think. Like, do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there anything that you'd like to see that maybe I didn't list in here? I'd love to hear your thoughts. But again, I appreciate all the support. If you guys like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.